This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
If I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you a house. I would buy you a house. And if I had
This is Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton, and if I had $1 million, I'd buy everyone a house. One for you, and you get a house, and no, I'm just teasing. We're joined today by JimDoyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. On Boomer Life today, we are talking about your financial future and how to get that house if you haven't got it yet, and how to retire comfortably. A well-thought-out plan for your financial future is an integral part of building the life that you want for yourself and for your family. Now, I can say from my own personal experience that it usually comes up about this time of year as well, that financial discussions and the thought of putting together a financial plan can be a little bit overwhelming. Jim, please tell our listeners about your approach.
Well, first off, you're not alone. I think all of us are naturally apprehensive when it comes to change. Now, I don't think we like it. We want things to be easy. We want to trust those that we're working with, that they truly understand our needs and even perceived needs, and that they're going to be about. And most importantly, from a client perspective, they want to know that I care. People expect that I'm going to explore their expectations and outline how the relationship will progress, including how the accounts will be managed, what fees are going to be charged, and what safeguards in place to manage risk. When we talk about taking a conservative approach to money, this doesn't mean the same things to all people. And while the goal might be to help you live comfortably today and protect your legacy to the future, the way that you go about it needs to be tailored to reflect your needs and understanding.
I think one of the challenges that people face is they're just simply not comfortable with their financial knowledge. What do you do to address this in your practice?
As we mentioned before, I think sometimes we wrestle with information and knowledge, and sometimes they're just not the same thing. There's a lot of information out there, and misinformation, and this is where clients really need our help when it comes to sorting out what information is relevant to their situation. I think real value can come from educating clients and communicating clearly and concisely, addressing risk management, and setting reasonable expectations from the start. Imagine the outcome if communication looked like this. These are the things you need to focus on and pay attention to. These are the things that you should ignore and not pay attention to.
You make it sound so simple. And yet I think every investor out there has wrestled with emotion at some point when it comes to investment decisions. It's kind of hard to avoid.
They say people are made of two minds. The left brain analytical, the right brain emotional. We've evolved from the agricultural age to the industrial age, and then into the information age, a train of thought that is narrowly reductive and highly analytical. And while those skills that gave us the information age are still important, they're no longer sufficient. People think of two minds, and we have to address both. As an advisor, I have to deal with both, because you have to call people to action. That part comes from the right brain. It's not enough to know something, you need to do something. Performance is not a goal. Retirement is a goal. My role is to help manage investor behavior.
So, Jim, it sounds like it's really important to understand that all of the best planning in the world will get completely lost if you don't put it into play, if it's not implemented.
Absolutely. Working with an advisor can add as much as 3% to your long-term financial return, according to a recent Financial Planning Standards Council study. Varying from your plan can diminish long-term returns, and that's why it's important to look at the things that steer financial choices. People tend to keep money in safe, interest-bearing investments, attempting to protect what they have, fearful of any loss. But what investors don't realize is that the low returns in safe options will not be able to keep pace with inflation, threatening to reduce their standard of living over time.
So, Jim, I think it's pretty clear that investors like myself, we want the best. How can you help them help themselves, or how can you help us help ourselves?
You know, advisors constantly deal with a baffling set of paradoxes from clients. They want safety and growth, but constantly try to beat the market and are quick to look for answers when portfolios underperform. They call themselves buy and hold investors, but rely on their advisor when volatility spikes and they want in or out. When spouses or partners have competing objectives, it pulls them in different directions. This is where an advisor can help clients make better decisions.
So, in an effort to make better decisions, why is it essential that both partners be engaged, financially speaking, with their planner? After all, when it comes to retirement planning, we see that even smart couples can make mistakes.
The biggest mistake that couples make is they don't talk about retirement until they're near it. They procrastinate until the end. Only one half of couples come to planning meetings is another big challenge that we see. And besides the obvious, they don't get a say in how they save for retirement. It's another reason why it's a bad idea to allow your better half to make all the decisions and do all the planning, just in case they get sick or pass away. Then what? Another challenge that we've got is that folks don't plan for speed bumps. Folks get ill, they lose their jobs, become disabled, or get divorced. Or if you're in business and you have a partner, they have things happen to them. Then what happens to your business and ultimately your plans? And about staggered retirement, when we talk about couples, particularly if there's, say, a decade difference in the age groups, you might need to look at some sort of compromise here. The older person could retire a couple of years later, while the younger one could leave work a few years ahead of schedule. It's about goal setting and working together. Implementing the plan is the big part. If couples can get past their money taboos and develop their goals and perspectives together, they're more likely to achieve success.
We've mentioned this before, but being reluctant to talk about these issues can actually be a really big problem. Do you think it's possible that having these conversations are a little like opening a Pandora's box? Would you care to share a couple of items from your do's and don'ts list?
For sure. It's important to understand that there's a significant shift in your mindset going from being an accumulator to one relying on your investments to fund a desired standard of living. With, if I can, some of the do's and don'ts that I could love to share. Don't assume that you or your partner are on the same page. You may have different spending philosophies or financial goals, so it's best to talk over your money plans together. Now this one's huge. Don't keep secrets. Making a big purchase without your spouse's input or keeping a secret debt can signal that you don't trust your partner, and that creates tension. I'm also going to offer the perspective of don't let one person control everything. It's fine for one partner to manage the day-to-day financial duties, but you should both keep up to date on how your financial plan is shaping up. On the do side of the picture, do handle your finances together if you want to understand each other's approach to money. And this is a nice one. Do schedule money dates. It's an opportunity to talk about your portfolio over coffee and waffles, or have a beer and bank account night. It's a low pressure, and it's kind of a sweet way to check in on your finances.
Skill testing question here on the beer and bank account night. Who has to pay?
Shared?
50-50. There you go. Ding, ding, ding. So what do you recommend when a partner tells you that they can't get their spouse engaged in the planning process? So one's in and the other spouse is out. They just don't want any part of it. I'm sure you've come across this before.
Yeah. Instead of waiting for your spouse to see the light, work with a financial professional to help explain your options to help keep you on track. Gather your records, your statements, your investment statements, tax records, bills, insurance papers, and so forth. And above all, don't feel embarrassed. Learning how your investments work will go a long ways towards bringing confidence in your future.
It's all about the conversation. So it does sound like there's a number of moving parts involved when it comes to creating that actual financial plan. So we've got the plan together, then you've got your tax and your legal people, and it sounds like everybody's got slightly different considerations. What happens when everybody, and that includes the spouses, are on different pages? How do you get them all together?
Well, many financial aspects force consumers to confront head-on intimidating aspects of their health, mortality, and overall financial situation. Being prepared helps to avoid some truly scary situations. Couples don't often share their financial issues and perspectives freely. Orchestrating the team members to get the best results takes a lot of experience and finesse, especially when you're trying to get the balance right between outcome and process. It's important to understand the language of the professional advisors and to speak with a common voice. We help people tie all of the conceptual knowledge, the strategies, the timelines, and expectations together using clear, easy to understand language.
Sounds like really powerful stuff. It sounds also like you're a little bit of a counselor in some ways, as well as a planner and an advisor. So for those people who are just focusing on their investments, I feel like they could be missing out on a lot. It sounds as though it's really important for couples to talk openly about their perspectives and goals and to make it all very clear.
Reaching common ground often involves acceptance, patience, and a willingness to engage. Discussing investment strategy before establishing goals and priorities, outlining the hows and whys, that doesn't make sense to me. So let me give you an example. Imagine a situation where one partner is a saver and the other is a spender, each trying to have the other see the error of their ways. This can be highly emotional, and it's not an uncommon situation in my practice.
I think I've seen that a lot as well. And for some couples, this has likely been a challenge for years. You're truly able to offer real value by taking the time to have these conversations. Helping them remove these barriers is something special. And I know money is one of the top drivers of divorce. I also know that one of your specialties in your practice is helping couples going through divorce. What advice can you offer our listeners?
As a certified divorce financial analyst, it's amazing how many of these files come to me, and I hear time and time again, "Jim, my situation is so simple. It should only take a few minutes," until we start talking about it. Many of the clients I've worked with over the years want to maintain the same standard of living they had as a couple. It takes time to assess what the new income streams look like and what the monthly expenses are, and even where the income is going to come from. Once they've made the decision to separate or divorce, the next most important decision they may want to consider is what type of divorce do they want and choosing appropriate counsel.
So, Jim, you not only help your clients look at the consequences of divorce, but with your specific training, you can help give them a sense of what their new future is also going to look like. You've been listening to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Today, we are speaking with JimDoyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. Financial security is a paramount goal for most Canadians. The need for advice has never been greater. Make 2015 the year that you rediscover confidence in your financial future. When we come back, we'll have more discussions about money and divorce and the importance of having a written financial plan. Coming up next on Boomer Life on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.